I still remember the way she said it. Calm, steady, almost rehearsed. "I'm leaving you for my ex," she told me across the dinner table, her fingers tracing the rim of her wine glass. For a second I thought she was joking. We'd been married for 11 years. We'd built a home, raised memories and fought through storms together. But the look in her eyes told me this wasn't a game. There was no tremor in her voice, no guilt, no hesitation, just certainty. I didn't argue. I didn't beg or ask why. I simply nodded and said, "Okay." And that one word, "okay," seemed to throw her completely off balance. She blinked, clearly not expecting that reaction. She had probably imagined a scene, me shouting, pleading, breaking down. She'd prepared herself for guilt, maybe even pity. Instead, she got calm acceptance, and that scared her more than any fight could have. She frowned. "That's it? You're not going to say anything?" I looked at her for a long moment before replying. "What's left to say, Anna? If you've already chosen him." Then the conversation ended before it began. Her lips tightened. "You don't understand, Mark. This isn't about you. I just need to be happy." I smiled faintly. "Then I hope you find that." The silence that followed was heavy, awkward, suffocating. She stood, grabbed her bag and left the table. The sound of the front door closing echoed through the house like a final verdict. That night I didn't cry. I didn't drink. I just sat in our living room, surrounded by the memories she was so eager to abandon. The photos on the wall, the faint scent of her perfume, the laughter that once filled every corner of this place. It all felt like someone else's life now. But deep down, beneath the calm, something inside me clicked. I realized I had spent years trying to be the husband she wanted, always bending, always compromising, while she kept taking without ever giving back. Her leaving wasn't a loss. It was the release I never had the courage to demand. Before going to bed, I opened my laptop and began typing an email to my lawyer. I didn't plan to fight over the house or the savings, but I was going to make sure that for once the story didn't end with me being the fool. The next morning I woke up early, brewed myself a cup of coffee, and watched the sunrise through the kitchen window. It felt different, peaceful. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the weight of trying to make someone else happy. The house was quiet, almost serene. No perfume, no tension, no walking on eggshells. Around 10 a.m. my phone buzzed. It was a call from an unknown number. I picked up, half expecting Anna. But instead, a firm male voice introduced himself. "This is Richard Collins, Mrs. Porter's attorney. We'd like to discuss a few formalities regarding the separation." I almost smiled. She'd wasted no time. "Of course," I said calmly. "Send me whatever you need." He seemed surprised by my tone. "You're taking this quite well, Mr. Porter. Why wouldn't I?" I replied. "She's getting what she wants." He hesitated, then continued. "She's requested full ownership of the house and half your joint savings. I hope we can avoid unnecessary complications." That's when I finally chuckled. "You'll want to check the paperwork, Mr. Collins. The house was paid for in full before the marriage. It's in my name only. And as for the savings, well, I moved those into a separate account last month. Joint accounts are closed." There was a pause. "I see. I'll forward my attorney's contact details," I said politely. "You can discuss it with him from now on." Then I hung up. I knew that call would send shockwaves straight to Anna's breakfast table. I didn't need revenge. I just needed her to understand what it felt like to underestimate someone who'd stopped caring. An hour later, I received a text from her. "What did you do?" I replied. "What I should have done a long time ago, protected myself." No response. By evening I got another call. This time from my own lawyer, Daniel. He was chuckling. "Well, Mark, seems your wife and her lawyer are both fuming. They assumed you'd roll over like before." "Let them be angry," I said. "She's free to have her ex, but she's not walking away with what I built." Daniel laughed softly. "You played it well. Most men panic, you stayed calm. That's rare." Calm. Yes. That's what broke her. The calm she never saw coming. Anna always thrived on control, on emotional reactions. But I'd finally taken that away from her. That night, as I sat outside under the stars, I thought about all the times I had swallowed my pride just to keep the peace. All the moments I apologized for things I didn't do. I promised myself that chapter was over. 2 days later, Anna showed up at the house unannounced. She looked different, tired, restless, and a little unsure of herself. The confidence she'd worn like armor the night she walked out was gone. She stood at the door, clutching her purse like she wasn't sure she belonged there anymore. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I stepped aside and let her in. "Sure." She walked through the living room slowly, her eyes landing on the empty spaces where her pictures used to hang. I'd taken them down the morning after she left. Not out of anger, but to clear the air of ghosts. "I didn't expect you to act like this," she said finally. "How did you expect me to act?" I asked. "Beg you to stay? Promise to change?" Her eyes flickered. "I just thought you'd care more." "I did care," I said. "For years. But you stopped noticing." She looked away. "My ex, David. He said you'd try to make things difficult. That you'd turn bitter." I smiled faintly. "He doesn't know me." There was a silence then, heavy and fragile. I could almost see the realization forming in her eyes. She had lost control of the narrative she'd built. She wasn't the victim anymore. She bit her lip. "Richard told me about the accounts. About the house. You planned this, didn't you?" "I planned to protect myself," I replied. "You decided to walk away. I just made sure I didn't lose myself in the process." For a long moment she said nothing. Then she sighed, shaking her head. "I thought leaving you would make me happy. But David isn't the person I remembered. It's not what I thought it'd be." I looked at her calmly. "Anna, you didn't lose me because you loved someone else. You lost me because you stopped loving yourself enough to value loyalty." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Can we start over?" I didn't hesitate, but my answer was steady. "No. I'm done living in circles. You made your choice and I made mine." She exhaled shakily. "You've changed." "Maybe," I said, standing up. "Or maybe I just stopped letting you break me piece by piece." As she walked out, I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not sadness, but clarity. She'd come expecting guilt, expecting me to be the same man who once worshipped her shadow. But she left knowing she no longer had that power. The next morning my lawyer called again, laughing this time. Her lawyer just quit on her mid-meeting. Said he's done with her drama. I smiled. Guess I'm not the only one who's finally free. And for the first time in years I truly was.